What's up, guys? My name's Cody, and it feels so good to finally say, welcome back to NRetroSpect. To make up for my long absence, I wanted to do something special. So today, I'm going to tell you all about my favorite video game ever made. This is Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-freaking-Kazooie. What can I say about this game that hasn't been said before? At the time of its release, it received universal acclaim and sold 1.8 million copies in the US alone. This game has a reputation so big that if you're watching this, 99% of what I'm about to tell you is stuff you probably already know. So, if you're willing to listen to me gush about this game like a rabid fanboy, let's get started. Banjo-Kazooie was released on June 29, 1998, and developed by the Nintendo 64 powerhouse, Rareware. You play as a honey bear named Banjo and his best friend, a red-crested Breagle named Kazooie. The story is pretty straightforward. At the top of a dark and spooky lair looming above Spiral Mountain, the evil and ugly witch Gruntilda asks her cauldron just who is the most beautiful girl in all of Spiral Mountain. Actually, she specifically says wench, but you get the idea. Anyway, the cauldron foolishly tells Grunty the truth, and that the most beautiful girl in Spiral Mountain is actually Tooty, Banjo's little sister. Absolutely outraged, the Wicked Witch builds a special machine capable of swapping her ugliness with Tooty's beauty. Once the machine is finally ready, Gruntilda swoops out of her lair and snatches up Tooty while Banjo and Kazooie are sleeping. After finally waking up, presumably hours later, Bottles the Mole tells our heroes that Grunty has taken Banjo's little sister up to her lair. It's up to Banjo and Kazooie to explore the 9 different worlds hidden in Grunty's lair and collect enough Jiggies to save Tooty from becoming ugly and stop Gruntilda from becoming sexy. Ugh. You control Banjo and Kazooie at the same time. Banjo performs your basic tasks like moving, crouching, jumping, and swimming, while Kazooie is used for special moves like climbing, hovering, flying, shooting eggs, pooping eggs, high jumping, doing taxes, beak busting, calling grandma when you don't want to, and even becoming an invincible shield. Now, I'm gonna level with you. This game is a bit of a collect-a-thon. First off, there's 100 music notes in every world, which are used to open doors that block you from the rest of Grunty's lair. Each world also has 10 golden puzzle pieces, otherwise known as Jiggies, for you to collect in order to unlock new levels in the game. On top of that, each world has 5 brightly colored creatures called Jinjos hidden around the map. Find all 5 of them and you're rewarded with a Jiggy. Now, this all may seem pretty overwhelming, but don't worry, it's not nearly as bad as another game. I haven't talked about it on my channel yet, but trust me, I'm not looking forward to it.
Here we go.
Overall, the game just controls so well, and combined with the level design, I promise that you'll be immersed for hours on end. Speaking of levels, let's talk about them, shall we? I'm gonna go into some spoiler territory, so skip to this part of the video if you want to experience the levels for yourself. With that out of the way, let's start the very lengthy process of going over every single level in Banjo-Kazooie. First up is Mumbo's Mountain. This level does a great job of introducing you to the game's controls and collecting aspect. It also introduces you to Mumbo Jumbo, a shaman who can transform you into various animals and objects to reach areas you couldn't access before. This level's transformation in particular is that of a termite, which grants you access to the termite's home, also known as Ticker's Tower. This level is also where we learn that Banjo's shorts are incredibly valuable. Seriously, Certain enemies in the game actually attack Banjo because they want his shorts. They must be like the Air Jordans of Spiral Mountain.
When the pimp's in the crib, mom, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. When the pigs try to get at you, park it like it's hot. Park it like it's hot.
Next up, we have Treasure Trove Cove, a tropical paradise full of terrifying creatures such as giant hermit crabs, living treasure chests, and who could possibly forget every 6-year-old's favorite cause of fever dreams, Snacker the Shark. The second you touch the water and those streams kick in, you're left to quickly decide whether or not that blue Jinjo is really worth saving. To anyone that's played this game before, this sums up how you felt every time you got in the water. One-third of the way through the game, and we come to a massive garbage dump called Clinker's Cavern. Now, who is Clinker? Why, he's a giant metal... Oh god, he's a shark! Not again! Please, I'm having flashbacks! Oh, stop! Oh wait, he's actually friendly and just suffers from 2 very bad toothaches. Aw, poor fella. This level also lets you explore the inside of the shark, kind of like Jabu Jabu in Ocarina of Time. Coming in fourth is Bubble Gloop Swamp. This level actually features a cameo from Tip Top, one of Banjo's old racing buddies from Diddy Kong Racing. Finding Mumbo Jumbo in this level will turn you into a crocodile. This transformation is necessary in order to complete one of the hardest challenges in the game, competing against Mr. Vile to eat the most Yumblies in a certain amount of time. One of the power-ups that you unlock later on in the game is actually really useful for this part, so don't forget to come back later. Halfway through the game and we come to Freeze-Easy Peak. This icy mountaintop is home to many Christmas-themed baddies, and also one of the laziest and most irresponsible fathers of any video game ever. I'm talking, of course, about this piece of shit, otherwise known as Boggy. For starters, it's Christmas Day, and he forgets to get his kids his presents. He leaves his 3 children completely unattended and runs off. Later on, Banjo and Kazooie find him passed out on the ground. He can't move because he ate a Jiggy. So, you have to climb up to the top of the massive snowman, ride a bobsled all the way down, and slam on his chest to get the Jiggy out. Then, after spitting out the Jiggy, he doesn't even go back to his kids. Instead, he runs off so he can race bobsleds with whoever decides to show up. Banjo is the one who eventually has to get the presents for the kids and make sure that they're still alive. Congratulations, Boggy the Bear. You just received the award for the most irresponsible father in any video game ever. And you even beat the absent father in Pokemon Red. This level also lets you transform into a walrus, which comes in handy for exploring the icy waters and getting access to Waz's cave. Now you might be asking yourself, what's that floating key made of ice behind that wall? Well, I'll talk about that a little later. But for right now, it's time for a complete change in scenery. Welcome to Gobi's Valley. This desert is sprawling with creepy hand monsters, allergic sphinxes, and slightly racist caricatures. And I would just like to say, this level also brings to light an important matter that shouldn't be ignored. Camel abuse. Coming in 7th is one of the most memorable levels in the entire game. Filled with ghosts, bats, giant hands, and a living toilet, is Mad Monster Mansion. The Mumbo transformation here is an adorable little... Oh my god, he's a pumpkin! Look at him, he's so cute. In this level, you can find a neat little Easter egg at the top of the mansion. Break one of the windows, and you'll be able to access a bedroom. Inside, you'll find a framed picture of a man named Captain Black-Eye. Captain Black-Eye was going to be the villain for a game codenamed Project Dream. Dream was the original game Rareware was working on and featured Banjo as a side character. The game started on development for the Super Nintendo until being moved over to the N64 before finally being scrapped after months of development in order to give Banjo his own game. Nowadays, Black-Eye is left to reminisce on his glory days in the back of a tavern. Poor guy. Mad Monster Mansion also featured a very common misconception. In the graveyard, there are a few empty flower pots. When Banjo plops an egg into one of these pots, flowers grow from it, and a deep voice says thank you. But because of the thick accent, many people, including Nintendo, thought they were saying something much more offensive. Here, take a listen and let me know what you think.
Thank you.
Finally, we have Click Clock Wood. This one is personally my favorite level because of the neat time travel mechanic. Click Clock Wood is unique in that you get to experience the level through all 4 seasons of the year: spring, summer, fall, and winter. Certain tasks you complete in one season are carried out to the next, and so on and so forth. In this world, Mumbo Jumbo can turn you into a bee, but only during spring. For the rest of the seasons, he's either being lazy, cleaning, or on vacation. Alright, now once you get through the main worlds, it's time to face the boss. Wait, I think I forgot a level. Yeah, just after Mad Monster Mansion and before Click Clock Wood. Oh no. For those of you who know this game well, you probably know what I'm talking about. And that's Rusty Bucket Bay. Rusty Bucket Bay isn't a bad level by any means. It's just a lot more challenging. This level takes place on a harbor where the HMS Gruntilda is docked. Rusty Bucket Bay is exceptionally difficult due to the water in the level being polluted with oil. This causes Banjo to drown even if his head is above the surface. Another reason this level has a bad rap is because of the engine room. This area is home to 2 Jiggies, and in order to reach one and trigger the other to appear, you first have to navigate a series of spinning cogs and rudders. This part's very difficult, and if you fall off at any point, you're pretty much dead. And if you didn't collect all 100 music notes beforehand, then say goodbye to all your progress. In the N64 version of Banjo-Kazooie, your music note progress wasn't saved until you found all 100 in the level on one go. This was later fixed in the Xbox Live remake, but the N64 version was much harder for completionists. Now that that's out of the way, let's finally move on to the last moments of the game. This is your last chance to avoid spoilers, so please, click here or go to this time in the video in order to avoid final boss spoilers. Alright, you did it. You learned all the special moves, endured countless and probably painful transformations at the hands of Mumbo Jumbo, collected all the Jiggies and music notes you could find. You're finally ready to face off against Gruntilda in an epic battle to the death. What? Welcome to Grunty's Furnace Fun! That's right, it's a game show hosted by yours truly, Gruntilda. In this challenge, you navigate a game board, kind of similar to Mario Party, and answer trivia questions or play mini-games. Earlier in the game, you may have run into a seemingly out-of-place fairy. That's actually Grunty's nicer sister, Gruntilda. Throughout the game, she would tell you 3 random facts about Gruntilda, each of them seeming pointless or trivial. But guess what? They're not! They actually matter quite a bit. When playing the game, make sure to talk to Gruntilda every chance you get and write everything down. Once you finish that, you did it! You win! Congratulations! You saved your sister, and now you can go home. The game closes on a wonderful barbecue where— oh sh! Gruntilda's still alive! And this whole time, she was waiting for you to face her at the top of the tower for an epic showdown, but instead you just went home and had a barbecue. Oops. Alright, now you go back, and this time head up the stairs where you're supposed to go and meet Gruntilda for an epic showdown. But first, you can actually go to the room where Grunty built her machine to steal Tootie's beauty. And there's also another room that gives you a shield on top of your health bar. Then you can also go stock up on feathers, and more feathers, and do a couple other cool things like visit this door that doesn't open yet, but if you use Action Replay or Game Shark, you can probably get it open through the no clipping code. And then Deedbot shoots you up to the top of the tower to face off against Gruntilda for one final showdown. Here we go! After hitting Gruntilda enough times, the Jinjos come to help you for the very last attack, which, as you learn, is one of the coolest things in the entire game. The Jinjos all fuse together to become one omniscient, immortal god called the Jinjonator. The Jinjonator delivers the final blow that sends Grunty careening off the tower, into the ground below, and trapped under a massive boulder, presumably forever. Or at least until 2 years later when the sequel comes along. And that's it! You're done! But wait, if you collected all 100 Jiggies, at the very end of the game, Mumbo Jumbo tells you two very big secrets. The first being that there's gonna be a second game called Banjo-Tooie, something that's bigger and better and more amazing than the first. The second being that there were hidden items scattered throughout the game that, when collected, would access new features in Banjo-Tooie. This feature was called the Stop and Swap. The idea was going to work by having players swap the cartridge of Banjo-Kazooie with the cartridge of Banjo-Tooie while the N64 was still running. At the time of Banjo-Kazooie's release, all N64s would temporarily store data from the cartridge on the console for a period of about 10 seconds. However, in 1999, Nintendo revised the N64 hardware, which ended up reducing this window of time from 10 seconds down to 1 second, making the swap impossible. Without any way to keep this feature, Rareware was forced to scrap the idea after already implementing half of it. You're still able to use cheat codes in the Sandcastle to collect the Stop and Swap items. It's just that, without the Stop and Swap, they don't do anything. The Stop and Swap is one of Banjo-Kazooie's most tantalizing secrets because it was halfway in the game and going to unlock more features. Unfortunately, we never got to see how the Stop and Swap would work. But thankfully, in 2008 and 2009, Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie were remastered for the Xbox Live Arcade, with the Stop and Swap feature completely intact. Every egg you collected in Banjo-Kazooie unlocks some pretty cool stuff in Banjo-Tooie. Like a gamer picture. Yay!
No, sir, I don't like it.
Don't worry, I'll cover more of the Stop and Swap for my Banjo-Tooie episode because there's actually some pretty cool stuff you can get. And that's pretty much it for Banjo-Kazooie. This episode was a lot longer because, to me, this game matters the most. To give you an idea of how important this game is, I made this channel just to make this video. I wanted to do the game justice because it deserves so much. Banjo-Kazooie is my favorite game of all time. Not just because of its fun gameplay, memorable characters, sense of humor, incredibly catchy soundtrack, or even its massive amount of personality. It's my favorite game of all time because it takes me back to being a kid. When I play Banjo-Kazooie, I feel like a child walking into Disneyland for the first time. When I play Banjo-Kazooie, I'm not playing a game. I'm going on an adventure. In retrospect, Banjo-Kazooie formed a huge part of my childhood, and I can never thank Rareware enough for that. Guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. This episode was a lot of work, and I really hope it was worth it. As always, if you liked this video and you wanted to hear me talk about more games, please hit that subscribe button and let me know what games you want to see next. Oh, and also, I've been asked by a couple different people, so I finally caved and made a Patreon. So, If for whatever crazy reason you'd like to donate money to me, you can do so at patreon.com/NRetroSpect. Any and all money donated will go straight to funding this channel, whether it's getting a hold of new games to cover or better equipment to make the show. I can't thank you guys enough for watching. I hope you stick around. And as always, I'll see you next time.